I'm Sophie Jurgensen from the Coast and Environment Graduate Organization at LSU. Today, we're going to learn how temperature and salinity affect the density of water. If you would like to follow along with this video, you will need 2 clear cups, salt, water, ice, and food dye if you would like to dye the ice cubes. Density is a measure of how much matter there is in a given amount of space. Density basically describes how tightly packed the tiny particles that make up any substance are. The higher the density, the more closely packed the particles. Both temperature and salinity affect density. At high salinity, salts are added to water, meaning that there are more particles. This makes salt water more dense than fresh water. At high temperature, particles are able to spread out, but at low temperatures, the molecules stick closer together. This makes cold water more dense than fresh water. Because ice is made up of fresh water, it fits into the less dense category in salinity, but because it is solid and cold, we know that it fits into the high density category in terms of temperature. Now we need to predict whether ice will melt faster at room temperature in freshwater or salt water. Pause the video now to make a prediction about what you think will happen. Do you think that salinity or temperature will have more of an effect on the density of seawater? Now let's see what happens. The cold fresh water from the melting ice is more dense than the warm water. The cold water sinks, so the warm water is always touching the ice cube. This makes it melt very fast. The salt water is more dense than the fresh water. Even though the ice cube is colder than the salt water, it cannot sink because the water beneath it is more dense. This means that the ice cube is always touching cold, fresh water, making it melt much slower. After about 10 minutes, we can see that the ice cube in the fresh water has fully melted and the water has mixed, so it's all the same deep blue color. However, the ice cube in the salt water formed a thin layer of water at the top that did not mix with the salt water. Through this experiment, we learned that salinity is more important than temperature in determining the density of water.
The fact that ice melts slower in salt water is one of the reasons that we can have such large icebergs. It's because they're melting so slowly in the water. The effects of salinity and temperature on density are also responsible for major ocean currents.
Thanks for watching.